Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, they still need Kelsey to beat Kelsey at times. I think they will baby him again. He won't be out there for 70, 80 plays. He's going to be out there for 55 plays, somewhere in that range here to keep him healthy as the season goes on here. So we have to keep that in mind as well. Plus the backup tight end there, he has some big games as well. So I think Kelsey is still very usable, but I think what you want to be careful about is you don't want to draft the name anymore.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Live with you right here on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh with you for the next 90 minutes as we continue to break down a huge Major League Baseball slate featuring some of the best pitchers in the National League, highlighted by Cubs Brewers, which is our main event tonight. We will also take a trip into the National Football League and that futures market as it is Moonshot Monday here on Game Time Decisions. We will also pop into the latest around the WNBA with the Liberty in action tonight, missing Breanna Stewart, how you could possibly take advantage in that game. The baseball board is plentiful, and we're going to go through some of our favorite options here on this slate. I think we come out of the gates hot, though, with best bets for myself and our crew. We're adding on to that crew. Pat makes a debut for a crew best bet here. Goes to the New York Yankees at -130. The Yankees were able to avoid a sweep at the hands of the Philadelphia Phillies. They'll look to stay hot with Schlittler getting the ball here against Rasmussen tonight as the Yanks are around a -130 money line favorite. More money line action from AJ and Sam. AJ goes Reds money line at +125. Chase Burns gets the ball against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's been a little more up and down this season at times, I feel, than the ERA suggests. That 8-7 record, he might have earned that. And we'll get a little bit more into that game. Sam goes Cards money line as St. Louis is going up against the Marlins. Within that game is where you'll find Casino Chris's best bet with Edward Cabrera for 5+ Ks at -130. Chris was also able to get in from the satellite and give us a moonshot. I'll read it to the people because we'll talk a little more moonshots a little bit later on. But he's coming out of the gates hot here. Ketel Marte, Frankie Lindor, Vladdy Jr., and Alex Bregman, all for 2+ hit and run RBI. That is at +906. A best bet for myself tonight. It's inside that Reds game between Burns and Yamamoto. Total is 9 for a reason. I think both pitchers are vulnerable tonight. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Burns got lit up by this Dodger lineup. I think Yamamoto, though, a little bit vulnerable coming off of a game where he did toss some shutout stuff. So I think that game has juice. I'm going over the 9 at minus 115. Nobody from the team, though, jumped into our main event for a best bet. I am involved in the matchup, though, between the Brewers and the Cubs with Mizorowski and Matthew Boyd getting the baseball. And this, to me, is one of the most noteworthy pieces of booking we have seen in this Major League Baseball season. The Milwaukee Brewers get on this incredible run. We've seen their odds to win an NL pennant drop. We've seen their odds, when you talk about, of course, the NL Central, move significantly. But it's the Cubs who remain booked as favorites. Entering in to this time right here, we have these teams both at 62 and 43. Cubs lead the season series presently 2-1. The Brewers will try to put that back in their direction. Why I say it's one of the most important pieces of booking, though, is Mizorowski and the hype that is around him. You have to wonder if anyone out there who's maybe adding some Brewer futures, are they looking for Mizorowski to be the front man of this rotation? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're comfortable with Freddie Peralta or Brandon Woodruff. But Mizorowski is right now being outgunned, if you will, by Matthew Boyd, who is flashing as a legitimate Cy Young candidate. And I am not being flippant with that. We are too late in the season to toss that around lightly. When you look at the National League Cy Young market, Matthew Boyd is 80-1. I push back on that number because Matthew Boyd has arguably been the best pitcher in baseball since the end of May. Minimum 40 innings pitched. Since May 28th, there have been 6 pitchers with an ERA sub-2. Handful of them are on our slate tonight. Framber Valdez at a 1.83. The incredible Chris Sanchez at a 1.67, both on the slate tonight. Tariq Skubal is at a 1.66. That's third best. Paul Skeens, a 1.26 ERA in this window. Second best in the bigs. Skubal 3, Skeens 2. Matthew Boyd is at a 1.14 ERA since the 28th of May. He has been dominant for the Chicago Cubs. He has been incredible. He has been untouchable. He's not given up a run in 3 consecutive starts, 4 of his last 5. This is what the Cubs needed in order to break through to the next level of contender, and it appears that Matthew Boyd is that. Now, I don't think it's just Matthew Boyd's dominance. I think there is some pushback in the market on just how good Jacob Mizorowski is. I think there's some oddness with Mizorowski's most recent start against Seattle. 3 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, but only 3 2/3 inning, pitching 64 pitches. His final start before the All-Star game, he got up to 91. You would imagine he's more than 64 tonight. I am not sure if we see Mizorowski, though, get 6 innings of work as he did that 1 start right before the break, which was actually against the Dodgers. And for that reason, I'll take Mizorowski plus 110 under his 5.5 strikeouts. For Mizorowski and for anyone who's on his futures in the NL Rookie of the Year market, this is an important game. It's noteworthy, and Mizorowski is losing ground to Drake Baldwin of Atlanta. Baldwin is seizing all of the opportunities that are coming his direction in Atlanta. He has been one of the most consistent hitters on that team. The opportunity, though, still needs to be plentiful for Drake Baldwin. You know, today is Moonshot Monday. One of the great calls that we've seen from our crew was our guy AJ throwing out Drake Baldwin in the NL Rookie of the Year race. Certainly better than 10-1. Maybe it was better than 20-1 at the time he put it out here on the show. Drake Baldwin has the goods. Now, I do think Sean Murphy being dealt at the deadline, will he or won't he, could be a huge piece of this market because it either opens up all the playing time in the world for Baldwin or he will still be in a somewhat back and forth situation as the Braves right now are not a team really prioritizing Drake Baldwin's Rookie of the Year case, then again, what exactly is Atlanta prioritizing right now? One of the most disappointing teams in Major League Baseball, sitting at 44-60. They're a favorite tonight. I'm a little involved in that game against the Kansas City Royals, so we will get into that. I think Cubs-Brewers, though, feels like maybe the most important series we've seen so far. For Chicago, it is a chance to push Milwaukee back down, strengthen their spot within this division, get to a minus 200 or so number as you leave this series. But for the Brewers, in a way you could argue they shouldn't need to due to the way they've handled the Dodgers. But this is an opportunity for them, I think, to prove themselves within this National League race. In the same way that the Blue Jays have now done it multiple times against the New York Yankees, and it's continued to shrink that number for Toronto within the American League race, where they are now minus 270 to win the AL East. Can the Brewers make that same kind of march? Juan Mizorowski under the 5.5 Ks. We'll get to the rest of the baseball slate next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, we're back with you right here on SportsGrid. We are underway in a couple of games. And I got so excited about some of our best bets on our main event. I did use Ketel Marte for my hit-run RBI boost, which is one of the options over on DK. You can opt in. You can either get the Nerfy boost or you can get a hit-run RBI boost. I think FanDuel has a Nerfy boost, so maybe if you want to play that, get involved on FanDuel, then do the hit-run RBI on DK. I use Ketel Marte for 2 and Cal Raleigh for 2 within that. I do think Ketel Marte is in a totally solid spot And that's the boosted price there at plus 233. Ketel Marte did not get on, is not going to be getting anything registered in this opening inning. So if you wanted to try and piece those together live, you could, and you could actually get that now at a better price. So that is where things stand there. I also today found a number of money lines intriguing, but I don't know if I really liked any of the prices I was getting. So I said, you know what? Let's ramp this thing up. We're going to go to 4-leg money line parlay in Major League Baseball. So let's go through those 4 games. First one is Braves-Royals. I feel that I missed the boat on something that I should have done this first start. Now, it's only start number 2. I know our guy AJ did do this in the first start, but it's just lay the run line every single time Rich Hill goes for Kansas City. And you might say that is super unfair to Rich Hill, who went 5 innings in that opening start, only had 1 earned run, 3 runs. Here's the thing, though. I just don't believe that 45-year-old Rich Hill is going to hold up for the length of this, run that Kansas City wants him to have. And it's not as if the Royals have really been all that effective of a baseball team this season. I was going to lay that run line with Strider and the Braves. It's a spot I think Atlanta gets right here after losing, 5 in a row, entering here, getting swept by Texas. Pretty brutal. The Braves season is brutal. I think they get right here. I like the Braves in this spot. The Astros look about as solid as you can for a high-level money line price. You always want to be cautious just flipping these around, but I think Framber Valdez is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. If we make a list of the top 12 guys, Framber Valdez across AL/NL, Framber Valdez should be in it. The Astros were just swept by the Athletics in 4 games. That's a bounce-back spot to me. Nats have, won a series on the road against Minnesota, 2 straight, good for them. Probably not going to be 3 straight. I like the Astros here, kind of as if you're looking for like an even money parlay tonight, Stros and something, maybe Stros, Cal Raleigh, little AL West 2-step, I like that a lot. I think that makes plenty of sense here tonight. How did I fill out the back end of this parlay, start to up things a little bit there? I did it with the Padres and I did it with the Mariners. I like this Padre spot. I don't like this Padre price at minus 130 with Dylan Cease, who's not who he used to be, right? We're getting closer to the trade deadline. You tell me how many of these articles are leading with Dylan Cease's name. Not many. That shouldn't be the case. Now, Cease could still be impactful if dealt, but it shows you kind of how he has fallen. With that said, I think Cease is in a nice spot here tonight at home up against the Mets. He's been much better this season at home than on the road, and I'm not a Frankie Montas guy. I'm just not. I understand that they've won 3 straight games that Frankie Montas has started, and Montas has recorded a win in all of those games. I think Frankie Montas can be hit here by the Padres as they get back home. Mets also winners of 7 in a row, which is great. I think that can stop tonight. And then lastly, A's Mariners. Now, I actually didn't mind the price that we were initially getting on Seattle, as they are on the road against JP Sears, throwing Luis Castillo at minus 120. I was just happy to kind of tack them on here. Of the 4, I think Seattle's money line price to me feels the best because I think Luis Castillo is not just better than JP Sears, but is in a better spot than JP Sears. I think Sears is very vulnerable entering into this game. His case, same as many of these A's pitchers, a much worse ERA at home, only gave up the 1 earned in his most recent outing against Texas. Castillo, I understand, again, you're vulnerable when you step into this Sacramento, heat, but we've kind of seen Luis Castillo start to figure out some of his stuff, I think, in his more recent start. So I'm happy to play their money line here. 4 legs, plus 599. You can find a boost out there. You can kind of raise the level a little bit, which is how I'm going to attack those 4 games. I really, really like Cal Raleigh. I try not to play hit-run RBI guys over 2.5 unless it was Aaron Judge, and we will talk some AL MVP race very shortly. But when you factor in how similar the vibes feel for when these games in Sacramento are to Coors, I do not mind the Cal Raleigh 3+ hit-run RBI. He's homered in 2 straight games. He very well could homer in a 3rd consecutive here tonight, which is a price, I believe, around plus 150, maybe like a 2+ RBI number tonight on Cal Raleigh. One of the situations with Cal this season is while we see him hit lefty significantly more often than we see him hit righty, he's batting .325 this season against left-handed pitching. I mean, he has been mashing in those opportunities that he's been able to bat from the right-handed side of the plate. I think that could very well play out here tonight. Just a reminder of what the best bets look like here on this Monday night. We're going to shift things over a little bit, bring in some WNBA, bring in some NFL. But here's where the best bets are. None of these are out of the starting gate just yet. So if you want to back in, hey, you're out there, you're feeling like you want to fade, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. I'm on Dodgers Reds over the 9, -115. Fading Burns, I think, primarily, but I think Yamamoto could be had. And I know that's how AJ would prefer it. He's going to go Reds money line, Pat Yanks money line, Sam Cardinals money line. Same game. Casino Chris goes to Edward Cabrera for -130 on one of the most improbable hot runs of this Major League Baseball season. But the Miami Marlins, I know they are coming off of a loss, but they're coming off of a series win against the Milwaukee Brewers, which is just absolutely fascinating. They are a team that's been able to get themselves up to 50 and 54. I don't know if this is a Brewers team that's going to be able to get to 500. At St. Louis, home against the Yanks, home against the Stros, at Atlanta for about 100 games in a row. Like 5 games with a doubleheader in there against Atlanta. A lot of road. This might be the best of it for Miami. This might be the best of it for Miami. We'll take a quick break. We're with you right here on a Monday night on SportsGrid.
He was already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year. And the players, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
To be able to get in the college football playoff. And the 3 games I mentioned, if they win at least one of those, guess what? They'll finish 10-2, and they'll be in the college football playoff without fail. So I think when it all comes down to it, that's really what this is about, team success as much as it is individual success. And if Arch has this team playing well and winning 10 games, I think the Heisman numbers are going to be there to back that up just based off of the offense that they play and how they move the football.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I've almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Engram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to the running back situation, I think Browns fans were pumped to see what Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins were going to look like, especially because Judkins is a Buckeye. This is Buckeye territory up here. Ohio State fans were super excited about that. It let a lot of air out of the tire when it looked like this kid's going to miss at least the first 6 games of the season. So they could have a good running back, Tim.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Back with you right here on SportsGrid. We're going to get to those moonshots at the top of the hour. I want to stop over quickly with the WNBA slate here. 2 games. The Sun catching double digits from Seattle. The Liberty laying just underneath double digits in Dallas against the Wings. Quickly for Seattle and Connecticut. It's a spot where I prefer to back that Seattle offense. This number's dropped a little bit right now in the market. We're seeing those 12s down to 11s, totals down to 157. I like a Seattle Storm team total here. It's not just a bounce back spot for this team coming off of another terrible loss, because again, that is a staple of the Seattle Storm season, but it's Connecticut Sun coming off of just their 4th victory this season. And for that, I think what we've seen from this team following, again, they're rare, all right? After their first win against Indiana, they gave up 100 the next game to the Liberty. They nearly got doubled up in that game. They beat Atlanta. They gave up 104 the next game to Washington. They beat Seattle, and that next game they played Seattle, they did only give up the 79. So maybe you could try and tell me, like, see, Seattle's going to try and do it with defense. I think that's on the board. But I think with Seattle coming off of the loss to the Mystics, I think with Seattle have already lost this point at one point this season to Connecticut, I think offensively they should step up and answer the bell here against the Sun. As far as the game between the Liberty and the Wings, no Breanna Stewart. That's the story. And the questions around this Stewie injury are really more so how long. You know, the Liberty this season has spent a lot of it unhealthy. That's just the truth. And with Stewie out against Dallas, it's on the board she misses at Minnesota, which is just a shame because that's the very first time we were going to get a look at the WNBA Finals rematch. They've been the 2 best teams in the W this season. I think that would have been highly anticipated. Game got the ESPN spotlight, but I think it's very on the board that she misses that game. If she does miss that game, the next 4 games they play, 2 are against Connecticut and 2 are against Dallas. I mean, this stretch here for the Liberty is a very bizarre one. It's a 7-game window where they only play 3 teams. 2 Minnesota, 2 Connecticut, 3 Dallas. The way it sets up, though, if you are the Liberty, you know you're in the playoffs. I would say if you did have dreams of catching the Lynx record-wise, you can't afford to go 0-2 against them. So you'd want Stewie to play in one of those games. But, again, is that the most important thing if you're the Liberty? No. Also, you're going to be pretty significantly favored in, let's just take it all the way until August 10th, which is about 2 weeks now, right? 2 weeks from yesterday. You'd be pretty significantly favored in all but the one trip to Minnesota. So you're still set up to be potentially so another five wins? Could they be 22-8? Yeah, absolutely, right? Maybe 21-9. It's still a really good record. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough to catch Minnesota. That's the shame of it. What you are going to look for is Sabrina to go off tonight. The books have put that number up to 21.5. Yes, it's an uptick for a player who's averaging 19.3 this season. It doesn't read as enough of an uptick. And that's upticks now up to 22.5, and rightfully so. Stewie only played 3 minutes against the Sparks. Sab scored 30. Last year, we saw Stewie miss 2 games. Sabrina played in both of those games. She scored 28 with 4 made threes and 30 with 6 made threes. So I know she only made the 2 threes in the game against the Sparks. By the way, still scored 30. I think you could absolutely up the ante here with Sabrina tonight. 30 plus, 5 made threes. I think that's all on the board here against Dallas. We are expecting Paige Beckers in this game too, so I think there could be a little friendly back and forth in that element, and it's going to get Sabrina, I think, excited to really put everything on the board. So I would take a look at the Sabrina Eskew props and into this game, and again, maybe potentially push things up a little bit for the alts. Speaking of alts, we're going to get to Moonshot Monday next here on Game Time Decisions. Just taking a look, we've got ourselves 9-1, another 9-1, 14-1, 550, almost 17-1. We've got some juice. It's next right here on Game.
He was already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year. And the players, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
To be able to get in the college football playoff. And the 3 games I mentioned, if they win at least one of those, guess what? They'll finish 10-2, and they'll be in the college football playoff without fail. So I think when it all comes down to it, that's really what this is about, team success as much as it is individual success. And if Arch has this team playing well and winning 10 games, I think the Heisman numbers are going to be there to back that up just based off of the offense that they play and how they move the football.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I've almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to the running back situation, I think Browns fans were pumped to see what Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins were going to look like, especially because Judkins is a Buckeye. This is Buckeye territory up here. Ohio State fans were super excited about that. It let a lot of air out of the tire when it looked like this kid's going to miss at least the first 6 games of the season. So they could have a good running back, Tim.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Game time decisions with you here on a Monday night. Kevin Walsh, we've got an hour to go, and we're looking to up the ante a little bit here with some plus money plays, but not just plus. It's a Moonshot Monday here. The short number is a plus 550. The backstory is like 48 hours ago, it was 20-1. Things move quickly, though, with an Aaron Judge injury and a couple of homers that went out of Yankee Stadium. That is Kyle Schwarber to lead baseball in home runs. AJ looks towards Schwarber in that market at plus 550. Trails Cal Raleigh by 5 right now. Schwarber is hot. Pat is going to stick to tonight's slate, which I don't mind. He's going to go Jonquel Jones for 25-plus points. That number's at 9-1 with Stewie out. Makes all the sense to me for the reigning finals MVP. We mentioned Chris's already. Don't be scared to root that in for tonight's board. Ketel Marte, Frankie Lindor, Vladdy Jr., and Alex Bregman. 2+ hit-run RBI. And then we start to walk into the NFL world for myself and Sam. For Sam, he goes Mike Green, Defensive Rookie of the Year, 14-1. Look, it's a sharp look because Mike Green had round 1 talent. Off-field questions pushed him down the board. The Defensive Rookie of the Year is a pass rusher's award most frequently. That is why the first 3 names you see are Abdul Carter, Jalen Walker, and Mykel Williams. It's why Abdul Carter is such a short 2-1 price. You know, if you want to make the case against Abdul Carter, which is, I think, how you have to start in this market if you're going against him, maybe he won't have the level of snaps some of these other guys will. Because of Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence all being on the line already. Carter's a rightful favorite. Jalen Walker, Mykel Williams, Mason Graham, Mike Green, James Pierce Jr., if Jihad Campbell is coming off of the edge for Philly, Shamar Stewart, now that he signed his contract for Cincinnati, those are the guys that you're going to gravitate towards. Baltimore sure could use Mike Green to hit. That team could use another guy to get after the passer with Kyle Van Noy leading the group. I do not mind that look from Sam one bit at 14-1. I think it's a sharp look. I'd much rather Mike Green than Mason Graham. Much rather Mike Green than Mason Graham. Hard to do at the defensive tackle position. We saw Jalen Carter seemingly have that award in his back pocket, and out of nowhere, where it was Will Anderson Jr. Day. Now, Will Anderson Jr. is a heck of a talent, and the Texans got themselves quite the player. All I'm saying is it looked like it was a Jalen Carter's the whole way. Edge rusher wins out. So I think that alone makes a good case for Mike Green at that price. For myself, I'm eyeing up 3 QBs, all for 30-plus passing touchdowns. Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Caleb Williams. Let's talk about it. Pat Mahomes, pretty simple. Pat Mahomes for 30-plus touchdowns is something not all too long ago would have been minus 300, 400, 500. Not only did he hit this in 4 of his first 5 seasons, he averaged 38.5 passing touchdowns in that stretch. And if you say, oh, well, that's because he threw for 50 in one of those years, remove that. The average then was still 35.5, and I'm including the season he didn't get there. This is a bounce-back season for Mahomes where he can't just say, yeah, but we win, because of how the game played out in the Super Bowl, where it's not just that KC lost. KC was embarrassed, stomped, rolled, left for dead in that game, abused, beaten up by the Philadelphia Eagles. And now, all of a sudden, some of the things that you heard here on this desk during football season from yours truly around Pat Mahomes and why he wasn't playing to the level, well, now that's being shared commonly and continuously and being acknowledged from Mahomes' best backers. Well, it's a step-up spot for Pat. 30-plus touchdowns should be no problem. Josh Allen had a 3-season stretch of 35-plus passing touchdowns snapped when he landed 29 and 28 in each of the last 2 seasons. The reality is we're knocking on the door for Josh Allen. I think it is very unlikely that James Cook, who in year number 1 had 2 rushing touchdowns and year number 2 had 2 rushing touchdowns, goes for 16 again, which was tied for the league lead this season. I think that's unlikely. And that will create some juice. I also believe that there is breakout potential inside that pass-catching room for Josh Allen. Whether that be another season of Khalil Shakir, another season of Dalton Kincaid, or lest we forget the 3-week stretch where Keon Coleman was going to be the number 1 wide receiver in Buffalo. The Florida State sophomore still has tons of talent. I think we see Josh throw more touchdowns this upcoming season at 30-plus. I think it's more than on the board. The last one has the longest odds, and it's what really jumped this bet up to plus 1654. It's Caleb Williams. First of all, Caleb has the pedigree for everybody to understand why I would want to take a look towards Caleb, who threw 20 passing touchdowns in his rookie season. And for everything that went on for Caleb, we know it is a better situation. So you pair the better situation, you pair the pedigree, and you start to feel better about it. Then you factor in how Jared Goff has looked these past years, 3 seasons with Ben Johnson, 29, 30, and 37. And you start to think, okay, you know what? Caleb Williams getting 30-plus isn't so crazy, and it's a Moonshot Monday. So that's how things look on a Moonshot Monday with Caleb Williams, Josh Allen, and Pat Mahomes all getting the 30-plus. One of those 3 names, by the way, did enter into a very prestigious club, the 99 Club, today. The 99 Club welcomed in Josh Allen, who was one of 2 quarterbacks to be in the 99 Club. The other being Lamar Jackson. Rounding out that group, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, shout out Lane Johnson, Myles Garrett, Saquon Barkley, couple of birds. Super Bowl bump, I'm not mad at it. I do think it is noteworthy. Something or nothing. It's something that when you see QB rankings, Mahomes will land at the top in so many of them. Landed at the top of mine. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. But it shows you how vulnerable that top spot is for this season for Pat Mahomes. I stand on this. Pat's status is number one. I know it gets challenged, right, in the middle of seasons all the time. But this would be different. If Mahomes does not start to put up the numbers to have himself in an MVP conversation alongside Lamar and Josh, who have won the last 2 MVPs and are in the 99 club, then you will see midway QB rankings knock Pat Mahomes behind Josh and Lamar, maybe behind Burrow, maybe behind another guy if you start to see someone else really, really pop. A Burrow, a Herbert, a Hurts, Stafford, Jaden Daniels. That stuff is all on the board. And it's something to keep in mind, I think, for this season. And it's why, again, Pat is here. Because Pat's status within this league is, again, up for grabs more than recent seasons, maybe more than ever before. We'll be right back. It's Game Time Decision.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Back with you right here on Game Time Decisions, the Major League Baseball board getting underway. 3-0 Baltimore already, 2-0 Detroit on Arizona. We'll keep tabs on all of that, but we're going to go to the Major League Baseball world in a way that we never really want to, and that's not because we don't want to talk Cleveland Guardians. It's because of the story around Cleveland. So to help us go through this is Matt Fontana, of course, of the Matt Fontana Show. Cleveland Sports Matt taking... My gosh, man. It's like, hey, you guys got all the good stuff. Your superstar closer's got a gambling investigation. Your quarterback room that nobody's happy about. We can't stop talking about. What a time for Cleveland sports.
Kenny Pickett's got a hamstring. Quinshon Judkins not here. Shador Sanders speeds. Somebody keep Donovan Mitchell away. Somebody keep Evan Mobley, put them in a room, keep the Cavs out of the mess that is the Cleveland sports scene right now for sure.
The Jared Allen wedding looked like a nice time. Well, so there's some silver lining. Some silver lining.
Was it High School Musical or whatever it was he was dancing to? So good for Jay. I'm happy he had a fun time in his wedding. So yeah, that's good on their part.
So the Emmanuel Clase stuff comes out, and I think the difficult thing is it seems to be tied to Louis Ortiz. What was your reaction? What have you maybe heard around this situation, again, involving one of the, of course, most valuable players on the Guardians who has been, wondered, could he be dealt within the next 3 days?
Yeah, Kevin, I think it's so hard because, number one, how can there not be some sort of comparison to Luis Ortiz, who's about a month ago placed on the same leave, investigated for pretty much the same thing, where they're alleging that with, no counts, the first pitch, ball. And these weren't even close. And there was a clip that circulated around today about Clase, and the clip showed 22 pitches of him pitching at the top of the inning with nobody on, nobody out, first pitch, no count, right? And of the 22 pitches, the person that was watching classified 11 of them, and I can't remember the term, but it was unhittable, unattainable, not even close to being a strike. So it's that raises suspicions. You guys know the gambling side of things. When you get a large take or a large handle on a really these people are just so shocking to me. I go, that is how everybody gets caught running point shaving or running any of this, is when you put a large amount of money on weird things. I mean, go back to Arizona State, right? And everything that was going on back in the 90s with that. When you're getting huge handles and huge wagers on these things, you're going to get caught. But yeah, my first thought was this has got to be tied to Luis Ortiz. Is he talking to baseball and trying to cut his own deal here? Was this a separate investigation? And at this point, evidence looks pretty damning. I know Clase posted on Instagram something about good night. Does he know that he's going to get found out in this? And it's bad. To your first point too, he is the second. Well, if it's not Stephen Kwan, Jose Ramirez is the best player, most important player of the Guardians.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not Stephen Kwan, it's Emmanuel Clase. And, he had team control. He was a guy that, could have been traded, but if they would have kept him, he would have been on the cheap for the next couple of years relative of, the Dolans. But he just put his whole career in jeopardy if this turns out to be true.
Yeah, and again, for the gambling piece of it, I wonder if this was a cohesive effort, their thought was throwing a ball is, I'm not really doing anything that wrong. A couple of guys are profiting off of it. The problem is the easiest way to sound the alarm is people betting thousands of dollars on first pitch ball, all of these things. Do you now feel, Matt, that this could maybe push Stephen Kwan out at this deadline? Cleveland's season now already wasn't going how they wanted. Maybe just, maximize the return for Kwan in a couple of days?
I certainly hope not. I would say that this probably, the one side of it would be, this doesn't change anything because now Cade Smith is your closer, and he's been electric, and everybody who wanted to trade Clase kept saying, trade him because we got our closer of the future, and it's Cade Smith. And there were people that said trade Cade Smith too. But so you could sit there and say, okay, Clase on this list, he might come off of it, who knows? But we have Cade Smith to kind of tide us over until we get there. And I just continue to think they're not going to get the deal that they need for Stephen Kwan. He still has 2 years of control, arbitration. He's going to make decent money, but they don't need to trade him right now. And I think the Guardians can compete next year. I do. I think they can still compete this year. They got to put together some wins, but I think if they make the right move or two in the offseason, I know everybody laughs because the Dolans don't spend any money, but I think they could compete. So why create a hole when you think you can get after it again next year if you don't really have to? They don't have to trade Stephen Kwan. Next year, you might have to. The year after that, yes, you probably do, because I don't think he's going to sign a long-term extension here. So you don't have to right now. I wouldn't. I certainly hope they don't. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they didn't.
Matt, we'll mix in a little bit of positive Cleveland sports stuff. The 99 Club comes out. 7 players, 6 offensive, and then Myles Garrett. Did they get this right? But class of his own, best defensive player in the league?
I would say so. I mean, it's hard to compare him to like Pat Surtain in a corner, or linebackers are just so different now. But it's edge rushers. That's where it is right now. And I think Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. I think T.J. Watt's right there. I think Micah Parsons is right there. Certainly, those guys are very, very good. Myles Garrett is in a class of his own. He just absolutely is. When the advanced stats about the double team rate, his quarterback pressure rate, all of that, he just stands a notch. I don't want to say a big gap, but he stands a notch ahead of those guys. And even if you're just a Madden Raider, go look at the guy. Like, he is fast, he's strong, he's big, he can jump. Like all those workout videos, he's jumping through the roof. He's got the most ripped six-pack I've ever seen. Like I was like 99. So I'm sure he's really happy about it.
For reference, Myles Garrett Pro Football Focus edge grade finishes last 4 years. First, and second. Pretty good. Myles Garrett, pretty good. Matt Fontana, pretty good. We appreciate you making some time. I said we'd check in again. I figured down the road. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk tomorrow, but I appreciate it.
Well, I hope it's not next week by something else that crazy happens or somebody gets suspended or anything like that. But I'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, all right. Appreciate it there again. Matt Fontana Show. Make sure you go follow him over on Twitter. A crazy little run here. At this point, LeBron, come on. Just go home. They need it. I need it. Go east. That's where the vulnerability is. We'll be right back.
He was already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year. And the players, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Be able to get in the college football playoff. And the 3 games I mentioned, if they win at least one of those, guess what? They'll finish 10-2, and they'll be in the college football playoff without fail. So I think when it all comes down to it, that's really what this is about, team success as much as it is individual success. And if Arch has this team playing well and winning 10 games, I think the Heisman numbers are going to be there to back that up just based off of the offense that they play and how they move the football.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Engram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to the running back situation, I think Browns fans were pumped to see what Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins were going to look like, especially because Judkins is a Buckeye. This is Buckeye territory up here. Ohio State fans were super excited about that. It let a lot of air out of the tire when it looked like this kid's going to miss at least the first 6 games of the season. So they could have a good running back, Tim.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Game Time Decisions back with you here on a Monday night. We're going to get over to some headlines that you might have missed, but a piece of news that did just come out around the Dallas Cowboys. Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle who you've got a Dallas offensive line room that I think actually has a pretty high ceiling when fully intact. A lot of Tylers on that group. They're looking to take the step forward. They spent the first-round draft choice on Tyler Booker. This is not a team with a lot of breathing room if they want to beat expectations and be a playoff team, contend for the top of the NFC East. That is a tough blow for Dallas. Let's get to, though, some other football news. Again, perhaps you might have missed, and I hope you didn't miss this one. And if you didn't, it's still good to bring up. Cancer-free for Deion Sanders, the Colorado head coach, was able to announce that today, which is absolutely just fantastic news. And we want to throw it over, give you guys just an opportunity to hear Deion today and what we were seeing from Deion Sanders speaking about the entire situation.
I couldn't, but slowly but surely I built myself back up to where I'm able, I'm strong, I'm ready. I'm still probably about 12 pounds down. I'm gonna get that right. I'm gonna fill these overalls up like no other. But it has been a tremendous journey, and I'm truly thankful that God is so good. God is so good. You have no idea. You have no idea how good God has been for me to be here. You have no idea. Thank you. Thank you both for everything.
There again, courtesy from SportsCenter. I just think it's a great thing to see. College football has been better with Deion Sanders involved in it. And I think it's a really fascinating Colorado group where, Deion's continuing to make his mark. Of course, not only losing his son Shador, but losing the Heisman Trophy winner in Travis Hunter. That is, it puts them in a completely different position. But as Deion has continued to make that a noteworthy program, they've been able to bring in some more noteworthy players. And the Big 12 is certainly viewed wide open. Some contract stuff within the NFL. Courtland Sutton signed a 4-year deal, $92 million. Contract extension with Denver. I am sure that Courtland Sutton deal will, potentially shape how some other contracts play out around the league. Sutton is seen as the number one for a Denver Broncos team that needs a number one heading into year number 2 for Bo Nix. I know there's excitement around Denver. I think that excitement is around the defense. It's around the offensive line. It's around Sean Payton. And I think individually I understand some of those things. I'm entering with a little bit more hesitancy personally around the Denver Broncos this upcoming season. But for Courtland Sutton, it's nice to get that deal done. And again, I think that Sutton deal potentially could have some impact on the Terry McLaurin situation. Although Terry McLaurin is going through a weird one. Terry, seemingly wants considerably more than DK Metcalf. Terry McLaurin, also seemingly injured. So I don't seem to entirely understand what we've got going on. He's on the pup. I don't know what's going on with Terry McLaurin. This felt like one of those things that was obviously going to get done. Probably. But now I'm just waiting because until it's done, and that is not a loss Washington can afford, mind you. I think Deebo Samuel is one of the biggest swing players in the NFL this season, okay? But Terry McLaurin, if he's not there, then the Deebo Samuel swing doesn't matter. Because then you are asking Jaden Daniels to do too much in terms of what you are giving him or not giving him talent-wise. Last one here from the NBA. Luka Doncic lands the cover of Men's Health magazine. I'm going to say that again. Luka Doncic lands the cover of Men's Health magazine. I mean, that's noteworthy because Luka Doncic was seemingly traded away from Dallas because the Mavericks weren't sure if he was ever going to get in shape enough to deliver on his full potential. The fascinating thing of that is you could argue it is a sliding door situation where Dallas doing that put Luka in a position to take some of this stuff, a little more seriously. I also think Luka is in better shape than people have given him credit for. But I will say if you watch first 2 seasons in the NBA, Luka Doncic, there was a lot more pop. Luka Doncic, MVP this upcoming season. There'll be talks. We'll talk AL MVP next.
he was already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year. And the players, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
To be able to get in the college football playoff. And the 3 games I mentioned, if they win at least one of those, guess what? They'll finish 10-2, and they'll be in the college football playoff without fail. So I think when it all comes down to it, that's really what this is about, team success as much as it is individual success. And if Arch has this team playing well and winning 10 games, I think the Heisman numbers are going to be there to back that up just based off of the offense that they play and how they move the football.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy. Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to the running back situation, I think Browns fans were pumped to see what Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins were going to look like, especially because Judkins is a Buckeye. This is Buckeye territory up here. Ohio State fans were super excited about that. It let a lot of air out of the tire when it looked like this kid's going to miss at least the first 6 games of the season. So they could have a good running back, Tim.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball board update. Each team put a run up in Reds-Dodgers through the first inning. So, bright side, awesome. Downside, could have been more. But you'll take 2 runs early there. Baltimore now up 5-3 on Toronto. Live total for this game, where are we now? 15.5? Is that what we're seeing here? 14.5? A lot of juice, though. A lot of runs. Yanks looking to take a couple of runs back here off Tampa Bay, who scored 2 in the first. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball. We're going to talk a couple of things here because our guy Tom Vecchio is stopping by on Game Time Decisions. Tom, it's great to have you here, Tom. And let's just start with the Major League Baseball board. Are you currently tracking anything or anything upcoming for you on tonight's slate?
So I have the Blue Jays money line, which you just updated that they're now down by 2. Vladdy tied it up with a homer, 3-3. It's now 5-3. So Blue Jays money line, I got that at -110. Talked to Joe and Donnie this morning about that. And then Edward Cabrera for the Marlins, over 4.5 strikeouts. Got that at -130 going up against the Cardinals. Although they're not a super heavy strikeout team, I like what I'm seeing from Cabrera. He has really gotten the walks under control in recent starts. He's had at least 5 strikeouts in 11 straight starts. So the walks down, he can go a little bit further into the game. He's got the fly balls under control. I like the spot from him. Marlins are cooking right now.
Marlins rock, man. The Marlins, they absolutely rock. It's been pretty incredible to watch. So let's talk a little AL MVP. We haven't talked this just yet on our show today. And look, I know, Tom, you would not victory lap a situation like this. But this is the type of thing that someone like yourself talks about when it comes to betting any awards at a short number. What if someone gets injured? And that's where we are now with Aaron Judge. And we're waiting for more and more news. And the books have not shifted Aaron outside of, outside of the front of this race. But I will tell you this, because this is an ever-changing market. Aaron Judge is no longer the favorite to win the American League MVP. I'm seeing -125 Cal Raleigh. I'm seeing even money now on Aaron Judge.
Yeah, so I have a position on Skubal to win the AL MVP at 120-1 over the weekend. That dropped to 40-1 at one point. It's back up to 111-1. Here's the thing, and like this is a question you've always posed: is like, what if the season ended today? Like, what if the season ended today? There's no world that Cal Raleigh should win MVP if the season ended today. Cal Raleigh has more home runs, That's a fact. Cal Raleigh's going to end up with more RBIs and more home runs compared to Aaron Judge. But literally everything else, Aaron Judge lead. Aaron Judge is hitting in the 330s, 340. Cal Raleigh's not going to hit even 280 this season. WRC plus, WOBA, everything else is in favor of Aaron Judge. Now, I understand why the books are moving the prices as they are. This is solely due to, risk and liability, especially when it comes to Cal Raleigh. Like they don't want to see it happen. I will say, if you are interested in backing Cal Raleigh, the bet to make, which FanDuel offers, is will Cal Raleigh break Aaron Judge's American League home run record? So he needs 63 plus at plus 260. So if things stay, if Aaron Judge comes back and he's good and things are, even again, like Aaron Judge, a power hitter, hitting 45, 50, some odd home runs. Let's say Cal Raleigh ends with 60 home runs and Aaron Judge has 50. All the other stats are still in the favor of Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I think that's actually such a fascinating aspect of this is Judge the whole time was expected to finish with more home runs than Cal Raleigh. Now that is no longer the expectation. The thing of this, though, Tom, that's really tricky for me is I think neither number is correct. Because either Judge is going to come back by mid-August, and he should be minus 350, or Judge is not coming back, and Cal Raleigh should be minus 600, give or take.
Totally agree. Agree. So the books are either going to be really right or really wrong.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. Because, like you said, if Aaron Judge comes back and he's not good, and Cal Raleigh does hit 60 and has 100 plus RBIs, then he wins it. But if Judge comes back and everything's equal, then anyone betting on Judge right now at even money, then you got the best number you've had for the past 4 months.
Do you think someone can beat out Cal aside from Aaron Judge, though?
No. I mean, like I have the Scooball ticket just because I think it's interesting. Like, what if the votes?
I think Scooball could.
Yeah, so like if he wins back-to-back Cy Youngs, and then like what if the votes for Judge and Cal Raleigh cannibalize each other? This is like having the best record for Scooball winning back-to-back Cy Youngs and then being atop the AL. Like there's something to be said there. I'm not saying I fully believe like 121 tickets going to cash, but having it in my back pocket for some closing line value at least is interesting.
Yeah, I think he's got a legitimate chance to do it because this is today I believe the most famous up until this point, Tom, Kevin, back and forth, Chris Bubich landed on the IL, but is now, I think, actually out for the season, they were telling me.
Correct.
So the season doesn't end today, right? So let's project out. Who's more likely to keep their level of play, Scooball or Cal Raleigh? Rick Scooball. Not even close.
I would say it's for any pitcher, not just or any pitcher of his tier. Like I could say the same thing. Like Skeens is more likely to keep his consistency compared to Cal Raleigh or anyone.
Right. I'm saying in relative to the MVP race, like what's more likely? Cal Raleigh breaks the Judge record or Scooball finishes with a sub-2 ERA, despite you think it's a terrible stat?
The latter.
So, to me, I'm a little surprised. Again, those nobody misprinted anything. Those odds, they just move a lot. So you'll see a 50-1 there from the initial time that we tracked this. I'm currently seeing 110-1 on Tariq Scooball.
Yeah,
Bobby Witt doesn't have the same chance to win MVP as Scooball. That's not real at all.
No, like I said, I have Scooball at 120-1 over the weekend, right when Aaron Judge went on the IL. It was down at 45-50-1. So like it went from 50-1 literally a day ago to 110-1 right now.
And then what happened? Toronto beat the Tigers, but Scooball didn't give up a run in the game, so he lost all this placement? I don't understand.
I think it's just the market moving with now Judge being officially out, any extra report, and then all the money flooding in on Cal Raleigh, that it just pushes Scooball down.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting spot where, again, I think Scooball has a little bit of pop. If I were to tell you Judge is back a month from today, is that too much time missed?
It depends on what he does when he comes back. Like if he comes back and he's average, yes. If he comes back and he hits a home run every 9 plate appearances or 10 plate appearances, and he ends with Cal Raleigh has 60 home runs. Judge has 50 home runs, and the RBIs are close the same. Judge is still hitting 340. Cal Raleigh's hitting 260, whatever he's hitting. I still think Judge would be in a spot to win.
Yeah, I think the school ball number is interesting. It's very, very tempting to me, Tom. I don't know. Because, again, Judge is going to miss enough time now. Like, the race could just be open. Like, maybe the numbers aren't ridiculous, and maybe we are going to. Do you believe in the J-Ram? Again, I know he's 80-1. I just don't understand why school ball got moved back so far. That's what's puzzling me, I think.
Right. I wouldn't buy into the J-Ram just because that I already have a long shot ticket where I just don't think that 2 long shots would close the gap enough to give me a cash out option, a hedge, whatever it might be.
Yeah, I would want to go, and maybe I'll, when you look book to book here, I wonder if the 110-1 number on school ball is the best number you're seeing right now. I think that's on the board, and if it is, it could become one of the more interesting numbers. Quick WNBA update: the Storm all over Connecticut, 41-27 midway through that second quarter. Gabby Williams leading all scorers with 11. Skylar Diggins is filling up the stat sheet right now with 5.6 rebounds and 4 assists. We've also got a tie game between the Yanks and the Rays. Twos are wild. We'll continue to follow the Major League Baseball board, but we'll work in some moonshots. Get Tom's thoughts next.
Already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year, and the players, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
To be able to get in the college football playoff. And the 3 games I mentioned, if they win at least one of those, guess what? They'll finish 10-2, and they'll be in the college football playoff without fail. So I think when it all comes down to it, that's really what this is about: team success as much as it is individual success. And if Arch has this team playing well and winning 10 games, I think the Heisman numbers are going to be there to back that up, just based off of the offense that they play and how they move the football.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, "Oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy." Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to the running back situation, I think Browns fans were pumped to see what Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins were going to look like, especially because Judkins is a Buckeye. This is Buckeye territory up here. Ohio State fans were super excited about that. It let a lot of air out of the tire when it looked like this kid's going to miss at least the first 6 games of the season. So they could have a good running back, Tim.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
With you right here, it's Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh, joined by Tom Vecchio. We're taking a look at the Major League Baseball board. Our main event is underway. That's Brewers-Cubs. And we're, talking some Cy Young stuff. And, Tom, you're the perfect person to throw this out to. Because I have about 3 months of data where I'm wondering, hey, is Matthew Boyd being disrespected? Because since the 28th of May, best ERA in baseball. Minimum 40 innings pitched. Mm-hmm. Top 3, at 3, Tariq Skubal. a 1.66. At 2, Paul Skeens, a 1.26. Superstars, studs. The best ERA, Matthew Boyd, 1.14. Matthew Boyd, Tom, when you look at the numbers, legit Cy Young chance or no? Is he more Bubic or what?
Yeah, I mean, he's pitching great, but he doesn't have a Cy Young chance. Like, both things can be true. I don't think he's being disrespected. I just think that there's so many players that are doing so many things that are already ahead of him that it's tough to, like, I would have to dig into it. I'm just trying to quickly look at the strikeout leaders, at least for the NL. If I could get this quickly. He's at 108, I believe, strikeouts. He's at 108 strikeouts. Like,
not going to get it done.
That puts him 18th in the NL. So, like, you have pitchers that have pitched more innings than him. He's at 118. Even if you want to compare him with Dylan Cease, who has 113 innings pitched, that's 144. There are pitchers that have the same or fewer innings pitched than him. Cease, Mackenzie Gore, Logan Webb, and they have 30-plus more strikeouts than him. And their ERAs over the entire season and other stats are comparable.
Well, so let's take – I will not – all right, so we'll do this in tiers. No way Dylan Cease is like close enough to have a case over Matthew Boyd because he struck out 40 more batters.
No, I'm not saying Cease does, but if you want to cherry pick one stat, like, there's nothing to say that someone else can't cherry pick another stat. Like, yes, Cease has always struggled with ERA because of his walks and his home runs, but his underlying metrics are phenomenal, and they're better than Boyd's, and he strikes out more, and he pitches fewer innings and has the same amount of. So, like, if you want to say that, like, oh, it's ERA and well, then Cease is not in the conversation, well, I'm going to say, well, then it's strikeouts, and Boyd isn't even in the ballpark because he's hovering on top 20, let alone top 5.
Yeah, I think it's the combination of the two, right? Because you do currently have a situation where Wheeler they've basically pitched the same amount of innings, 26 more strikeouts than Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
But Skeens' ERA is, I know that simplifies it to a degree that you're probably not super happy with, and I get that.
Right.
But what I would say is, so again, with the Bubic point, right? Bubic was never going to keep that up. He didn't keep that up, but in a moment in time, Chris Bubic with the ERA was noteworthy.
Right.
If you tell me that Matthew Boyd has no chance to keep up what he is currently doing, here's the thing, though, and truly why I'm more so trying to gauge how you view Matthew Boyd. None of this matters because Paul Skeens has the best ERA in the National League.
Right.
None of this matters. Like, that's really what this is going to come down to.
I think Matthew Boyd could keep up what he's doing, and he still wouldn't finish top 5 in voting, top 3 in voting. It's going to be Skeens or Wheeler are going to win. The other one's going to finish second, and then it's going to be Chris Sanchez.
What about Chris Sanchez? Does he have a chance?
He doesn't have a chance to win, but he's going to be a finalist.
You don't think he has a chance?
I really do, because he's not the best pitcher on his own team.
But, like,
Wheeler would have to not pitch another inning this season for Sanchez to have a chance. And there's no disrespect to Sanchez. Like, Wheeler's having literally the best year of his career. So he's not even the best pitcher on his team. So it's going to be Skeens, Wheeler, and then in the second tier, it'd be Chris Sanchez and Logan Webb. And they're having great years. They really are. They're just not having as good of years as the other players.
You don't think Sanchez has a chance?
No.
I listen, I understand that those things are difficult to keep up. I'll tell you what, I assume in the show, at this point, we have 99 on Paul Skeens? Do we have 99 Cal Raleigh? Probably not. I hope not. 99 Zach Wheeler. Madden, we got 99 ratings. 7 guys, Tom. Here's my question to you. Sometimes I like to ask Tom to be negative. Who is the least deserving 99 of the 7 that were put in?
The least deserving?
Great question. Great question. Wow. Wow.
I don't even know.
Great question. Yeah, I know, but you got to think about it. Come on. Slander someone.
I would say Miles Garrett.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Miles Garrett, and why is TJ Watt not there? That's it's not like a slight to Miles Garrett. It's like, why is TJ Watt not in the conversation?
Well, because Miles Garrett's better. I think Miles Garrett's better. Do you?
I mean, not
maybe
this past year. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson was on route to winning the
Sure was
Player of the year until he got hurt.
Sure was. Chris Bubich was en route to winning that Cy Young. What do you mean? He was right there. He was in the mix.
So I would say, and this is not like a slight to Miles Garrett. It's just like Aiden Hutchinson and TJ Watt both are deserving of this same conversation.
Yeah. For me, I gotta be honest with you.
Don't say Jalen Hurts.
Well, what do you mean? Don't say was Jalen Hurts up there?
No.
Did Jalen Hurts get a 99? No, I'm just saying most undeserving. If I had to go through it, probably Josh Allen, right? I mean, it's probably Josh Allen. I mean, that's how it would feel to me. If I had to go, like, it's Madden, so Lamar's a 99, right? 41 tugs, only 4 picks. I'm just saying, like, it would be like Lane Johnson, gold jacket Lane. No, take me back. Hold on. I'll show you my pass set. Ready? Watch this, Tom. This is what. Look at that. I'm keeping him off me. Lane Johnson deserves 100. Where's Penny Sewell?
Already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year, and the players, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
To be able to get in the college football playoff. Of the 3 games I mentioned, if they win at least one of those, guess what? They'll finish 10-2, and they'll be in the college football playoff without fail. So I think when it all comes down to it, that's really what this is about, team success as much as it is individual success. And if Arch has this team playing well and winning 10 games, I think the Heisman numbers are going to be there to back that up just based off of the offense that they play and how they move the football.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I think he's on easily the back 9 of his career at this point. A lot of fans I see on social media saying, "Oh, we got to sign this guy. We got to sign this guy." Something left here with Noah Fant? What gives?
I think they were ready to move on from him as a veteran, but I think Fant is like a number 2 tight end for a contender who can play a lot. I think that would interest me, and I almost been looking around trying to find a good landing spot for him, and I've settled on what if he were to go back to the Broncos and sort of back up Evan Ingram.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
When it comes to the running back situation, I think Browns fans were pumped to see what Dylan Sampson and Quinshon Judkins were going to look like, especially because Judkins is a Buckeye. This is Buckeye territory up here. Ohio State fans were super excited about that. It let a lot of air out of the tire when it looked like this kid's going to miss at least the first 6 games of the season. So they could have a good running back, Tim.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're back with you right here on SportsGrid. Let's update the live board on this Monday night. 2-2, Yanks-Rays. Remember, that's Pat's for best bet here on the show, so we're rooting in the Yanks. Orioles-Jays continues to be a high-scoring affair. That is 6-4 right now. Baltimore leads the team with the best record in the bigs. Detroit up 4-0 on Arizona. That's one of the interesting things when you get guys with such few starts under their belt. Troy Melton, first start against Pittsburgh, gets knocked around. But Troy Melton comes out so far very good here in start number 2 against a better lineup, I would say, and the one that Arizona brings to the table. We still have not been able to get underway in Cleveland, Colorado. I did play the Rockies plus a run and a half at plus 114. I don't know when/if that game, though, would be set to get underway. We're still sitting at 1 apiece between Cincy and LA. We did see a leadoff double, though, for the Reds, so I could really, really use the Reds to start to tack on because it does look like Chase Burns is starting to figure this stuff out more and more. He's got 6 Ks through 3 innings against this Dodger lineup. The kid has the goods. We're scoreless right now in Minnesota, Boston. I might have missed out on one there. I considered an under 9.5 earlier in the day. It dropped down to 9. I didn't play it, so we're not bragging about anything because this isn't going to do anything for me. If you played under, happy for you as the Nerfy comes in that first inning. Yes runs first inning for Kansas City as they score against Atlanta, scoring off Spencer Strider. Shout out Rich Hill, who was able to work pretty swiftly off of that Atlanta lineup to start that inning. What did Acuna get thrown out? He got picked off. Awesome. Great stuff from Ronnie there. 3-0. Wow, it is a nightmare for Mizorowski in this first inning. 33 pitches. He's not out of it yet, which is good for the strikeout under, but he's also 2 strikeouts for his 2 outs so far. So, it's going to be closer than you would think with the way that game is trending. Cubs are up to around minus 600. Nerfy comes in, fills White Sox. Chris Sanchez, an 8-pitch first inning. I will say to Tom's point, you're going to have to be super brilliant if you're going to want to make inroads on that Wheeler-Skeens race, I think is the best way to put it. We're early doors right now, St. Louis, Miami. We're rooting in the Cabrera K's for Chris on his best bet. We are rooting on Reds money line, Cardinals money line as well for some of those crew plays. And then just with the remaining action on your slate tonight, we've got the Astros and the Nationals. Framber Valdez gets the ball, looking to snap a 4-game losing streak. The Stros were just swept at home by the A's. It's an incredible Houston spot. It's an expensive Houston spot, but if you're looking for a little 1-2 money line parlay, maybe a Stros plus a prop type of thing, I think it makes plenty of sense. DeGrom's got the baseball against the Angels. I mentioned the 6 starting pitchers who are a sub-2 ERA since late May. DeGrom has the 7th best ERA in baseball because under the hat, Jacob DeGrom still absolutely awesome. And that is a great, great thing to see. Rangers are red hot, by the way. I believe they're 11 of their last 13 they've put in the win column. Fading the Mets tonight with Cease going against Montas. Giants will throw Weisenhunt for the first time in his career against Mitch Keller. Giants still booked as a favorite. A's host the Mariners. They do so as a dog. I like Seattle. I think Cal Raleigh, who's batting .325 against left-handed pitching, is worth your attention, prop style, if you would like to get involved in that game. On the side of the W, which we talked about a little bit already, 57-46. It could be a 100 spot tonight for Seattle. That team total pregame was 84.5. They are well on their way, scoring 57 in the first half against the very, very bad Connecticut Sun. It's Wings Liberty. No Breanna Stewart. Sabrina Nescu has scored a lot of points when she plays without Stewie in recent years and recent opportunities. Scored 30 last game with Stewie only playing 3 minutes. This past season, she scored 28 and 30 in the 2 that she played without Breanna Stewart. So one of those nights where maybe you want to just say, forget the over, 21.5, 22.5. Let's go 30. Let's go 35. Let's go 5 made threes. Let's go 6 made threes. I think that is all out there and on the board. Also, don't forget those moonshots. A lot of plus money, including the 30, 30, 30. Caleb, Pat, and Josh, all for a big passing touchdown season. That'll do it for Game Time Decisions. In-game live is next.